Hello, Gary Simon of DesignCourse.com, and today is January 16th with the 16th video of the year, and we are going to focus on something new for the channel, and that is photo manipulation. So what is photo manipulation? Basically, it's taking a single photo or multiple photos and manipulating them in some way to create a different image. So we're going to start off with a very basic introductory type of tutorial today. We're only going to use a couple images to create something that looks really cool. And as always, visit DesignCourse.com, put in your email or check out. There may be courses, depending on when you're watching this video, already available. And also the project files are available for free in the description below this video. All right, so this is what the image looks like that we're going to be creating today. Okay, so let's go to File, New, and we'll just call this Skull Flower. And I'm going to use 16 inches by 20. And normally, if you really wanted to do like a poster, for example, you would want at least 300 for the resolution. But I'm not going to do that for the purpose of just this tutorial. This isn't about print design or anything. This is just about purely photo manipulation and getting started with it. So I'm just going to start at 72, or leave it there rather. And we'll just use this for the web. And let's go ahead and for the paint bucket tool, by the way, if yours doesn't show up transparent, it's only because when you went to File, New, you had it set as white or whatever your background color is. So I always have mine at transparent. All right, so I'm going to fill it in with black. All right, and then we could just double click over here and call this BG for background. Okay, so the first image we want to open up is linked here below in the description, and it is this skull. This is going to be the basis for which we use, and I used this in a previous tutorial for website design. So I decided we would use this again. So if you just download this, it's like a massive image, obviously. Right click it and copy image, or you could just save it and then open it up here in Photoshop. And then once you have it open, just copy that and then close it out and then Control V to paste it in. Now we have a very large image here. So what I want to do first is I'm just going to go to File, New, paste that in, and then we're going to get rid of the background. So we can use the background eraser tool. So you just left click, drag, and pull this out. And you know, when you're working with photo manipulation, a lot of times you're going to have to cut out different images. And so if you have an image that has a flat background that needs cut out, then you can use this background eraser tool pretty easily. So I just hold Alt, click right there to get white, and then we'll go around the edges just like this. Now you want to do it so that that little crosshair in the middle stays in the white, but you're also wanting to get the radius of the actual tool overlapping the object that you're trying to cut out. So in our case, it is the skull. So I'm just going around pretty slowly and carefully. And also, real quick, I will show you what settings I used. So I used 413 with a hardness of 100% and spacing is 25. All right, so now I can just take the lasso tool and just go around it real quickly. And end it there, hit Control C. Now we can get out of there and then just paste this in. Hit Control T, and we'll scale this down by holding Shift and Alt. All right, right around there. Select Apply. So now, if we zoom up here, this is 100% view on my screen. So I'm just going to stay around 66.7. You know, whatever fits well would be fine. So now what I want to do is go ahead and just go to Image Adjustments and Hue and Saturation. I want to take the saturation down just a bit, right around to -26. I'm going to hit OK. And now what I want to do is kind of prepare this and get rid of a few parts before we bring in our flower. So I'm going to take the pen tool, and we want path selected. And then I'm just going to kind of cut out part of this. So I'm just going to left click once and then come up around here, left click and drag a little bit, and then come down here, and then come over here. Now if you screw things up, just Control Z to undo. And right around there. You kind of want it to follow the contour of the shape of the skull. Alright, so you just bring it all the way back and to the original point and go to right click and make selection. Hit OK, and then just hit delete. Oops. Select inverse if that happened to you. Just hit delete. There we go. And then I want to kind of create maybe just like a cutout, circular cutout, but not a perfect circle, of the skull right around here. And we'll right click, make selection, and we'll hit OK. I don't know why it's doing that. It's inverting my selection for some reason, but oh well. And there we go. And then just one more time over here, I'm going to want to cut out just around this area. So I'm going to zoom up just a little bit for that. And I'm going to take the pen tool, just as we were, kind of come up around here, get it to follow this edge. And then come up around here. Oops. End it like that. Right click, make selection, and hit OK. Hit delete. Control D to deselect. Control 1. Okay, now I want to get rid of some of the eyes, the inner eye portion. So I'm going to zoom up here. And I'm going to start right here. We can just barely see the eye portion. And come on around here. Alright, and then I hit delete, Control D to deselect, and then come over here real quick and do the same thing. Alright, right click, make selection, hit OK, and hit delete. Okay. And then finally, we're going to get rid of this section here. I'm going to start up here. This is going to be our last piece we cut out. All right. And hit delete. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom out here. All right, this is what yours should basically look like so far. So now what I want to do is get the actual flower in. So that is linked here below in the video as well. And it is this image right here. And got this advertisement blocking. Get the hell off. Damn you. There it is. That's beneath it. Okay. So just click download on that, right click, copy the image, and then I'm going to bring it in here back to Photoshop, and we're going to create, just go to File, New. It automatically has the dimensions of the flower image there. And what I want to do is use the same technique for the background erase. I'm going to get this down slightly, maybe around here, and then come up here. Alt click this blue color and then just go around. And you may have some areas that you will need to clean up afterwards. Okay. I don't care if I get rid of that stem there. Okay, so let's take the lasso and we'll go around. Oops. Try not to touch any of the petals here on the flower. Copy that. We'll go back here. And behind, we're going to select on the background layer and then just paste in. All right, so the idea here is to take this flower and try to get some of the petals to come out of the eyeballs or in the skull, and also here we'll see some as well. So what we have to do is first, what I want to do is to save a copy of this. So just right click, we'll just duplicate that, and then we'll call this flower original and hide it. And so now I'm going to scale this down. Control T, hold Shift, and let's see, right around there. I'm just focusing on the top portion a little bit. All right, select the Move tool and hit Apply. And now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this portion, or this whole copy that we just did. And we're going to move it around just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is take this and push it or drag it up above the skull. And we're going to take the opacity down, and then I'm going to hit Control T with the flower copy layer selected and almost flip it entirely. And then what we want to do is we want these petals to come out of the eye. So the way we have to do this is, we can see we have a low opacity, and I'm going to zoom up real quick. First hit Apply. So basically we want this aligned perfectly right there, so that this edge right here basically meets the top portion of the orbital. Alright, so now what we want to do is take the pen tool with path selected, and we want to click right there and then follow the actual orbital. And what I want to do is stop right there, because we can see this second petal, if we call this the first one and then second, ends right here. So if we come and we try to follow that as best as we can, maybe come in a little bit. All right, and then come all the way around. Right click, make selection, hit OK, and still doing that, yes. Select inverse, and I'm just going to hit copy and not delete. Or what you could have done, if it did inverse, go to select inverse and then just hit delete. All right, so now let's turn the opacity back up, and let's go to Control 1 just to see what that kind of looks like. All right, and what I want to do as well, we're going to do this a second time, except we will cut our part of the skull this time to get this how we want it. So what we'll do is take the skull, so you just auto select layer with the move tool and click on it, and we're on layer 1. We'll just call this skull real quick. We will take the opacity down, get back to the pen tool, zoom up here, and we want, let's see here, we will have, let me click right here. We'll start right here, and we'll go right along that edge, okay? And then what we'll do is come all the way down here. You can see there's just like a very faint portion. It's a looks like a shadow. So we want to go right along that and follow it up just right around there. All right, right click, we will make selection, hit OK. I'm going to select inverse and then hit delete with the skull layer selected. All right, and let's hit Control 1. And I'm going to auto select layer with that with move tool. I'm going to select this one right here. I don't want this pedal showing. Let me go ahead and turn this back up. Let's go ahead and just erase that. Oops. Okay. And this as well. Kind of just trying to clean it up a little bit. All right, so let me go ahead and zoom out just so we can see how this looks so far. All right, that looks pretty decent. So now I'm going to take these copies right here, and I want to actually no, we're going to keep those separate. So now what I want to do is change the hue and saturation of the bit of the actual flower. So with the flower layer selected, we'll go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and take the saturation down around -30, hit OK, and then take the flower copy and do the same thing as well. And hit OK. And now to make this look like it's, a little bit more realistic, we need to add some shadows here. So if I click on the flower layer, we want to create a new layer, Control Shift and N. Click on Create Clipping Mask. And then we're going to take the paintbrush here and with a black selected for a foreground, and we'll take the size down quite a bit, maybe around here. We'll just color in right around there. And I'm going to get rid of that. That wasn't supposed to happen. So we'll just work with this for now. We take the opacity down, maybe right around there. That will be good. Let me get rid of this. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Oops, that's a different layer. Control Shift N, new layer, create clipping mask. Just like that. And what was that opacity? We had 60%, so change ours down here, see what that looks like. Oops. 60. And all right, so that looks okay for now. And then we'll do the same thing up here. So we'll click back up on that layer. And slightly over here as well. You know what? I'm going to step back a couple times. I'm going to create a new layer, a clipping mask as well. And I want to be able to... Wait, was that... Hold on one second. Oops. Yeah, wrong layer. Sorry about that. We'll create a new layer on the flower right there, clipping mask. All right, and then we'll just come down here just slightly, and I'll go ahead. I want to be able to adjust that a little bit differently. I wanted that opacity down around 39%. All right, and then I do want to put a shadow down here as well. So let's see if we could just select on that first clipping mask layer and just kind of go, oops, we don't want to do that. Like right around there. All right. All right, so far that looks pretty cool. What I want to do is just a couple more things. I'm going to zoom up here, take the pen tool, select the skull layer, and get rid of a tooth. So we just come, kind of follow this right around here, and end it right there. Right click, make selection, hit OK. And delete. And then one of the last few things we're going to do, I'm going to zoom out here. I want to create kind of like a stem. So I'll take the pen tool. We'll go here at the very, the last layer. And I'm going to create a stem that kind of goes all the way down past the bottom of the document. And we'll take the direct selection tool, get rid of the fill. Oh, what the heck, it won't let me click it. You know why? I have path selected. Sorry about that. So I'm going to right click and delete path. Make sure shape is selected. Now we can do that again real quick. Maybe right around there. Now it will let me. Okay, so we're going to make kind of like a green here. And we're going to take the size up a bit. And I'm going to choose, yeah, right around there looks good. So it's just about 12 points. And that's a little bit, I want this to flow a little bit better. So if we take the direct selection tool, we can move these points around as needed. Just like that. So you can take those anchors and adjust how it looks. And then what I want to do is I'm going to duplicate that. So right click and duplicate the layer. Hit OK. And this time the color we're going to change to be slightly lighter. And the size we're going to drop down as well. Right around there. And then we can move it over with our move tool selected with the keyboard. Maybe right around there. And I'm going to go right click and I'm going to rasterize the layer. It's kind of off the screen so you can't see it on mine. And then go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. Turn it down just right around there is okay, I think. And then I'm going to take both of them, both of these layers, holding shift, hit Control E to merge them. And it's kind of a little, it's way too, I guess you could say there's too much hue or saturation. So if we go to hue saturation and take down that just a bit and hit OK. And then create a new layer and make it a clipping mask. So I just hit tab and space to get there real quick. Hit OK. And we'll use our brush tool again. I'm going to make it a little bit larger. Maybe right around there. And then take the opacity down just a bit. Alright, so I think that looks pretty cool. Let me zoom out here so we can see more of it. Okay, so that's what mine looks like so far. Just a couple other things that we can do is, you know, just so we can give it more of a background. There's so many different ways you could potentially tackle this. So let's create a new layer just above the background layer. So we could do this if we wanted to. Take this with a real large brush. Okay, bigger. And then maybe bring that down just a bit. So that gives us kind of a cool background. All right, we could, you know, I think I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay. The one last adjustment I wanted to make is to take the magic wand tool with the skull layer selected. You can see we kind of have like this very thin white outline. So what we want to do is select out anywhere outside of it. Go to filter or select, modify, and expand. We're going to expand it by just 1 pixel. Hit OK, and make sure before you selected and used the wand tool that anti-alias is on, and we have a tolerance of 32. Now we can just hit delete. Hit Control D to deselect, and we can see we got rid of that line. So it just looks better that way. All right, so let's zoom out here one last time just to see what we came up with. And I think it looks pretty cool. And so hopefully you learned a lot in terms of just basic photo editing and photo manipulation. Okay, I'm going to keep aggravating people here. I'm going to take this again. I'm just going to take these 2 layers, duplicate them real quick, delete that one as well, and I'm going to move this all the way up right there. Okay, now let me zoom out because it just kind of looked like it ended there. Should have not done that. So Let me get rid of that. All right, there we go. All right, so yeah, hopefully you learned, some basic photo manipulation. So I'll be doing some more of these, and this will serve as, the most basic or beginner type of photo manipulation. So hopefully you enjoyed it. And as always, check out designcourse.com. Like me on Facebook and the other networks if you can. And those links are in the description of the video. All right, so I will see you tomorrow.